Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday the country marked Ram Navami, the day to mark the birth of Lord Ram, which is celebrated with much pomp and across regions of India. Pujas, processions and prayers marked this day. But this year Ram Navami was marked with violence, at least in some places. Multiple states witnessed massive cases of stone pelting, arson and violence. In Bengal, stones were pelted on a VHP and Bajrang Dal rally in Shivpur. In Bankura, clashes erupted after procession was taken out in front of a mosque without permission from the local administration. In Madhya Pradesh, in Khargon, a superintendent of police sustained bullet injuries after stone pelting at a procession. Today, a day later, the state government went on and bulldozed homes of those they declared were behind this violence. Similar scenes were witnessed in other parts of tribal-dominated areas in the state of Madhya Pradesh. The violence even penetrated a state down south. In Karnataka, 2 students were attacked allegedly for attending Ram Navami rallies, forcing the chief minister to assert that such instances will not be tolerated. Not just in Karnataka, but Jharkhand too, lawlessness was witnessed as vehicles were burnt as a mark of protest against a Ram Navami procession. Stones pelted at a rally, vehicles and shops vandalized, communal clashes witnessed in at least 2 locations in the BJP-ruled Gujarat. And here in the national capital, in an educational institution, the JNU, ugly clashes were witnessed between 2 student groups belonging to different political ideologies. Whether the provocation was serving of non-vegetarian food or an alleged attack on a havan or a puja being performed, well, the jury is still out on that. These instances have occurred across states, irrespective of which party is in power there. But the blame game continues over who are the instigators and who are the victims. The BJP is pointing in the direction of the Congress party, specifically Rahul Gandhi. They are highlighting a comment made by the Congress MP just a day before Ram Navami, a comment that reeks of nothing but provocation, says the BJP. Listen in to the charge.
कहा अगर मैं आपकी जगह होता और मैं अपने आप को लाश बनाने के लिए तैयार होता, आत्महत्या करने के लिए तैयार होता, तो आत्महत्या करने से पहले पता लगाता ये कौन है जिसने मेरे भाई को मारा, रसोई से चाकू निकालता, बस में जाता, उसके घर जाता, छाती में छुरा मार देता.
The Congress, however, believes that it is the BJP and the hate that they have fueled across the country in the last 8 years that is responsible for such frequent communal clashes across the country. Listen in to the fierce war of words that has erupted.
जिन लोगों ने देश को बांटने का धंधा लगा के रखा है, उनके लिए ये दुकान चलाने का भी है कि कैसे लोगों के बीच में तनाव पैदा कर दे. ऐसी सरकार है जिसका ये एजेंडा हो, ये कभी नहीं देखा. हम लोग पीस बाई करते थे, ये टेंशन क्रिएट करते हैं. यही दोनों में फर्क रहा है.
देखिए, बहुत दुखद विषय है. जैसे मैंने अभी कहा कि भगवान राम के नाम पर जिस प्रकार की राजनीति विपक्ष के कुछ नेता कर रहे हैं और जिस प्रकार का बयान विपक्ष के कुछ नेता भगवान राम के नाम में दे रहे हैं, जिसमें भगवान राम के अस्तित्व के ऊपर ही प्रश्न चिन्ह लगा रहे हैं, और उसी स्पीच में, उसी भाषण में हिंसा की बात भी कर रहे हैं कि कानून अपने हाथ में ले लेना चाहिए और अगर हिंसा फैलाना पड़े तो भी फैलाना चाहिए. ये राहुल गांधी जी का वक्तव्य कल का रहा है. तो स्वाभाविक रूप से जब इतने बड़े पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के नेता इस प्रकार के इमैच्योर बयान देंगे, इस प्रकार के इररेस्पॉन्सिबल बयान देंगे.
Over the last few years, we've heard many people in this country come out and say that the Jai Shri Ram chant has become a war cry. They said it has become a call for hatred and killing. But today, they're all silent when these same Ram Bhakts are at the receiving end of the violence. That's the question and the debate. Hashtag Ram Navami clash. That's the debate coming up on the other side.
The news At 9, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining me tonight on the debate, Amit Malviya, national spokesperson of the BJP, Rashmi Samant, former student union president and Oxford University and human rights activist, Mr. Ratan Sharda, author. Also joining me tonight, Dr. Pavan Rao Ambedkar, national spokesperson of the AIMIM, Bishwajit Deb, spokesperson of the TMC. But my first question goes to Kuntal Krishna, political analyst, supports the Congress party. And I want to ask you, Kuntal Krishna, the BJP clearly points its fingers at the Congress party and Rahul Gandhi, to be specific, because just 2 days ago he made a statement, and he made a statement that can be seen as extremely provocative. And we played out that statement made by Rahul Gandhi. And not just that, he said that, you know, even if I have to commit suicide, I will go to the person who's killed my brother and, in a bus, and I will take a kitchen knife and stab him. That's not the kind of conversation that any political leader would do. So when the Congress party takes pride in pointing fingers at the BJP, do you think it's time to look within? Because the whole issue began on the 2nd of April, the first Navratra, and the first day when the procession was taken out for the new year, and Karoli happened. Today, even 9 days later, the main accused is absconding, and Ram Navami has reported so much violence across the country. Who's to blame?
Navika, see, this whole thing is marking of a new paradigm. What BJP and RSS is trying to do in this country is they are trying to paint every incident in this country towards a communal color. They are trying to come to a point where the pitch is all about 80 versus 20. So let me tell you very clearly, it is a time for us to think that where this country is going. Our democracy is in danger. And it is not only like that. It is simply that it is a rehearsal for 2024. BJP and RSS, along with its allies, they wanted to convert every incident in a communal thing so that they can have a 80 versus 20 pitch.
Mr. Kuntal Krishna, I want to stop you right there and ask you, if they could win 2014 without these kind of clashes, if they could exceed that number that they won in 2014 with a better performance in 2019 without getting into this kind of communal clash and communal confrontation issue, what gives you the right to accuse them for saying that this is being done in the run-up to 2024? I want to ask you, why would you make that statement? What is the evidence that you have?
I am not.
Navika, because they want to drift this country away from real issues. Right now, at prime time, we should be talking about rising fuel prices. We should be talking about high rate of unemployment. And we are forced to talk about these issues because this is what is happening in country. JNU, an institution which was known for inclusiveness. Yesterday, what happened in JNU?
It happened before also.
Anyone who has passed out from JNU.
JNU yesterday was bad. It worries all of us, but it happened before.
Yeah.
Afzal, hum sharminda hai, tere qatil zinda hai. That is not a problem for you. That is not a problem for you because you won't call it out. You will not call out Rahul Gandhi, who went to Rajasthan to talk about price rise, and what you are talking about today, he wanted to talk about that, and what did he go and talk about there? Hindutva. How Hindutva is poison. Hindu and Hindutva was his bhashan in Rajasthan when price rise was the issue that he went for. So why don't you for once look within what's happening in the Congress rather than pointing fingers at the BJP? Let me get in Mr. Amit Malviya joining us. Amit Malviya, you are doing this as an experimentation in the run-up to 2024. That's what the Congress party believes. Respond to the charge.
Well, is it the Congress party's argument that the BJP has marshaled these stone pelters and put stones on their rooftops and told them to get provoked at the slightest instance? Is this what the Congress party is alleging? This has been happening for over a century now. Not now, but in the 1940s and even before that. If you read writings of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, he has explicitly spoken about these instances and this being a flashpoint between the two communities. This churning that we are seeing is a long overdue one. This should have been behind us in 1947 when India was divided on the basis of religion. That is the truth of our country. This is our past which we cannot ignore. Secondly, Navika, I ask you, what is this whole idea of Muslim area? What is this idea of provoking Muslims by putting saffron flags? Or what is this idea of provoking Muslims just because a procession happened to pass through from a lane which had a mosque or had a Muslim population there? Have you ever heard a Shia procession being stone pelted by Hindus? No. So why is it that only the Muslims stone pelt Hindu processions? Why is it that it happens in states across the country and only BJP-ruled chief ministers take tough decisions and action against these stone pelters, whereas chief ministers like Ashok Gehlot and Mamata Banerjee justify it? Now, there is a problem. The problem is of appeasement. The problem is that in this country, everybody thinks that secularism is a one-way street where the majority community is responsible for holding up the flag. It's high time that the Muslims in particular realize that this country's fabric is secular because it's a Hindu majority country, and they must also come around and accept that this is not going to be a country where they will have their wit run large. This is a country that will be governed by rule of law and constitution, and they must be equally abiding of the faith and principles of the majority community. This must be absolutely clear, and this should have been clear in 1947, but for Nehru and his progenies and the secular brand of politics that we see in this country. It has come to a point where the minorities believe that it is their ordained right to pelt stones on the Hindu community, and it is for the Hindu community to ensure that this country remains secular.
Kuntal Krishna is rebutting you. Kuntal Krishna, it's a fact. When have you seen any violence when there is, any festival of the Muslims? And frankly, even for Hindu festivals, it never used to happen the way it's happening, in the year of 2022, starting from 2nd of April to now.
Navika, my friend from BJP itself told us what BJP and their masters RSS are up to. Every time they are using the same jargon, majority versus minority. This is what I am saying. This is all for a run-up to 2024. They wanted to come to a pitch whether they want the country to be divided on communal lines. They do not talk about issues which concern 100%. Why not talk about rising food prices?
Then why doesn't Rahul Gandhi talk about it?
Inflation?
Why is Rahul Gandhi so obsessed with Hindu and Hindutva? Why is Rahul Gandhi talking about violence? Why is he talking about stabbing people before committing suicide? Why don't you answer that question? Very convenient to keep pointing fingers at the BJP. What about Mr. Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party? What about Karoli? What about Matloob Ahmed, who 10 days later is still absconding? Why don't you answer that question, Mr. Kuntal Krishna? If you are holier than thou, then why don't you deliver on governance in the state of Rajasthan?
Navika, let me tell you, in the state of Rajasthan, whole of the state machinery is hell-bent upon finding out whoever is responsible for Karoli. Let me tell you.
Hell-bent upon finding, but the main accused, who's a councillor who supports the Congress party, is absconding and you don't have a clue. Well, fantastic job that the Rajasthan government is doing 10 days later.
Councillor does not support Congress party.
You know, just
Navika, let me correct you.
What is the justification that you are going to give? What is the justification? It's all very easy to point fingers at others, but when it comes to your own accountability, there's nothing that you have to show for. So let me get in Mr. Bishwajit Deb. Mr. Bishwajit Deb, Bankura, Howrah, Shivpur. Why, sir? Isn't this the same state which said when a Muharram procession has to come out, Durga Puja Visarjan will not happen? And then the High Court has to step in. Why, sir, should this happen on Ram Navami?
Now, can I reply?
Yes, sir.
First of all, you see, this is a polarization politics of BJP, which is going on not only in Bengal, but throughout the country. And that is why you can see that this type of incidents are happening in various states, even in the BJP ruled states, and also in Bengal. In Bengal, there is no question that we will instigate violence. It is something which is due to the fake news which is being regularly spread by BJP. BJP is expert in spreading fake news, and this is what they are doing. And this is the outcome. And ultimately, you can see that not only in Bengal, in each and every state, this thing has happened. It's a planned program of BJP. It's a polarization program. It's a program for polarization. It's a polarization politics. And this is what BJP is doing. They don't talk about, you see, when the price rise, they don't talk about the price rise. They don't say that the petrol prices are going up. They don't say that the diesel prices are going up. They don't say that the common people are suffering due to the price rise. So they want to divert the attention of the people. And secondly, they want to go for a communal politics. They want to go for a communal politics.
Mr. Ratan Sharda, Mr. Ratan Sharda, so let me ask you, Mr. Ratan Sharda, is this the first time in the last 8 years that petrol prices have gone up? You know, in the past, the BJP has not resorted to organizing these kind of scenes in different states on a Hindu festival just because they want to distract. What is so special this year that that the BJP is being blamed for diverting attention from price rise, and therefore they go and create problems in Gujarat, in Bengal, in Karnataka, in Jharkhand? The BJP is sponsoring and the BJP is provoking people for price rise also, and in the run-up to 2024. That's the chart.
It's not a question of, can I reply? It's not a question of Hindu.
You already replied, sir.
You should see that India is a secular country, and BJP should understand that.
How secular,
here,
sir?
everybody is equal.
When Muharram procession is allowed and Durga Puja Visarjan is not allowed, how secular have you made India? How secular has the Trinamool Congress made India, sir?
Of course. In Bengal, everyone, each and every community is safe in Bengal. And each and every community enjoy the same status in Bengal.
Ratan Sharda, respond to Mr. Bishwajit Deb.
See, Bishwajit Deb is trying to divert the discussion from their total failure to put law and order in place. Their own TMC leader's son has been caught raping a minor girl and putting a lot of atrocities. And their entire record, right from pre-election to post-election, speaks for itself. As far as petrol prices are concerned, no non-BJP government has reduced its own VAT in the state. So they have the highest petrol price. I will not try to divert further on that coming. Let me come to the main issue. People say that this is a political gimmick. They say there are elections. They say BJP is creating it. See, this the Subodhkar Sahai, if you see statement, he says, we used to buy peace. Sir, that is the problem. When you buy peace, you don't get peace. They tried to buy peace in 1920 Mopla violence. They tried to buy peace in 1946 direct action in Bengal. They tried to buy peace in 1947 partition. Hindus gave up 1/3 of their motherland so that people who don't want to live with Hindus can go to Pakistan and live peacefully if they don't want to live with Hindus. Those who are left behind, we believe they will respect our customs, our religion, our traditions. Unfortunately, today also, there is a veto against Hindus to celebrate their festivals, to celebrate their gods. There are people who claim that this is instigation. Do you mean to say that Hindus should seek permission of not just police but also of minorities for celebrating a festival? This is the most perverse kind of secularism that I can talk about. And this is nothing new. When I was young, there used to be riots during Congress time when some speck of gulal would touch a masjid. There would be riots when there was some music playing against a mosque. These unhappy people have done this before partition, after partition. Are Muslims responsible? No, these leaders who defend extremist elements, they are responsible. What was the rationale behind so-called sensitive areas? See, Amit talked about Muslim area. We had a definition newspaper saying this was a sensitive area. Was ever a Hindu majority area sensitive area? No, sir, never. It was always a Muslim dominated area which became sensitive. Why did it become sensitive? There is no answer at all. You talk about democracy in danger. Rahul talks of violent reprisals. And you say there is nothing to talk about. The entire issue of paradigm, what is the paradigm? Paradigm is that Hindus should carry the cross of secularism. No other community has any duty towards maintaining secularism. This charade, this fake narrative has to stop. And if I have to celebrate festival asking people for their arm to do it, I'm very sorry. And this is a narrative which began in 1947, sensitive areas of, celebrating festivals because some minority got angry. Sir, we paid 1/3 of the land. That's the price we paid. We paid with the lives of more than million people who died in partition. We never paid them tribute. And today we want to go back to the same conditions, same position where we were earlier on. When they say that I should ask, election, etc. So my gods, my calendar, my festival should now be dictated by these seculars. They'll be dictated by the election calendar.
No, but
so
what kind of secularism is this? What kind of secularism is this where minority appeasement becomes the rule of law and the majority is supposed to be apologetic about their festivals, about their faith, about their beliefs? It's a question that begs an answer, Mr. Bishwajit Deb. You wanted to come in. Just answer this question. Secularism, yes, there should be secularism. But why does India have to see the definition of secularism as only being appeasement of the minorities?
Why you interpret the word secularism
in Bengal?
Why you interpret this word?
They had to give up Durga Puja. They had to give up Durga Visarjan.
You had your turn.
That is the price Hindus paid.
Now please let me say, it's not a question of Hindus and Muslims.
Your Muslim people killed their Muslim worker TMC. You could not stop it. That is law and order in Bengal.
You are yourself. Whatever you are saying, you are yourself proving that you are not secular. Now, what exactly?
Just a moment.
No.
Just a moment.
Whatever you are saying.
Just a moment, Navika. Ask him to define secularism.
From your
secularism.
No. So what is the meaning of secularism? Is the meaning of secularism, Mr. Dev, that on Ram Navami there cannot be a Hindu procession? On the new year of the Hindu calendar, it cannot be a Shobha Yatra. Is that the definition of secularism?
Why is the policeman running away from the rioter?
1 minute, Mr. Ratan Sharda, allow him to respond. Allow him to respond.
Please allow me. Otherwise, I won't allow you. Why do you interpret?
Yeah, I can understand. You are always.
Please don't interfere.
Stop me.
Please don't interfere.
Stop me if you can. You tried every kind of thing outside of the field. You are in a TV studio now. Let people see how oppressive you are.
You have some courtesy.
You need courtesy. You beat up people, you rape people, you kill people. You don't allow FIRs to be filed, and you want courtesy.
You see, in Bengal, we don't see colors. And that is why even the TMC people are behind the bars. It is not like Uttar Pradesh, where in Hathras, incidents happened and they are not arrested due to the fact that they belong to the ruling party. It's not a fact. It's also not like Uttar Pradesh and Unnao. It is not like Lakhimpur Kheri, where the central minister's son kill innocent farmers.
Mr. Biswajit Dev, the statement made by Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, which is the topic of our next debate, is equally condemnable. When she says that a rape is not a rape and it is a love affair for a minor who's been raped, then clearly, you know, at least as a Chief Minister and as a woman Chief Minister, you know, it is insensitive, and let's not begin to start trying to justify that. But let me get in Dr. Pavan Rao Ambedkar. Dr. Ambedkar, simple and straightforward question. Today, Abu Azmi in Mumbai comes out and says that in this country there is a Prime Minister who promotes a film, and therefore, because a film like Kashmir Files is promoted, therefore, there will be a reaction that will happen. I want to ask you, Kashmiri Hindus, you know, nobody can make a film on the realities that they have gone through, because they have to then worry about whether Hindu festivals will be allowed in this country or not. Kashmiri Hindus for 32 years have not had any redressal to their problems, the fact that they've been uprooted from their motherland. But if you make a film on them, the country will get absolutely up in arms about it. That is the secularism that is being taught to us. I want to ask you, Mr. Rao, is this secularism? That a Hindu festival has to see violence that mars it in 10 different places across the country?
Ma'am Navika, I'm not going to endorse the statement given by the Abu Azmi, because we have seen the friendship of Raj Thackeray with the Abu Azmi. So I'm not going to comment on his statement. I just want to say, and country is waiting for the statement of the Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Home Minister of this country.
You're sounding so much like Mr. Ashok Gehlot. He's just made this second call. He's just made the second call to say that the Prime Minister is to be blamed.
Madam Navika, kindly listen to me. Kindly listen to me. We are waiting the statements of the Prime Minister and the Honorable Home Minister. What is happening in this country? We are still waiting for the peace statement. At least peace statement must be given by the Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Home Minister. Second thing, I just want to say, BJP and Congress are the two faces of the same coin. Mr. Malviya said regarding the Dr. Ambedkar, and Congress is telling about the activities of the BJP. मैं एक बोया पेड़ बबूल का तो आम कहां से होए? Congress is the mother of RSS. Congress has started hatred in this country in the name of religion since 1949. So Congress is responsible. Congress is continuing the hatred in this country in the name of religion. Hindu-Muslim dange, the first time. So Congress has forgotten 1969 Gujarat danga. वो भूल चुके हैं. Congress has forgotten 1980 danga in Moradabad. Congress has forgotten 1984. So see the series of the hatred in this country after 1949. After the establishment, after the implementation of the Constitution of India, we are suffering from two statements, two words, Ram Raj and what? Hindu Raj. Whether we are going to abolish the Constitution of India, whether we are going to establish Ram Raj in India, those who are speaking these two statements, they are not believing in the Constitution of India.
And the BJP, why don't you just tell me, Mr. Ambedkar, why don't you just tell me, do you believe in Mahatma Gandhi? Do you believe in Mahatma Gandhi?
BJP is doing the same thing.
No, do you believe in Mahatma Gandhi?
In which respect? In which respect? In which respect?
In which respect means
In
what?
which respect?
Do you believe in Mahatma Gandhi or not?
In which respect?
You
In
know,
which
is it
respect? In which
conditional?
respect?
Do people in this
which
country
respect?
believe in Mahatma Gandhi conditionally?
Definitely, there must be a question. In which respect?
I'm asking, the question is, do you believe in Mahatma Gandhi, father of the nation?
In which respect? In which respect?
I
In
want
which
to
respect? The
respond to
question is
Amit.
very
In
clear.
which respect do you not believe in him?
Are you talking
In which
about
respect do you not believe in him?
Here you got the answer from B team of BJP.
Are you talking about
Navika, here you got the answer from B team of BJP.
Give me 30
No. You, Mr. Krishna, you are the mother of...
Navika, here you got the answer from B team of BJP.
Because of you, this country is in hatred. Because of
Navika,
you,
we have seen how Mr. Obasi has helped BJP. It is a fact that Mr. Obasi is a B team of BJP. And your answer,
Dr. Ambedkar, I want to ask you, do you believe in Mahatma Gandhi?
In which respect? My question is very clear. In which respect? In which respect are you entering the name of...
Are you
saying that if Mahatma Gandhi, said Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sita Ram, Ishwar Allah Tero Naam Sabko Sanmati De Bhagwan. In this respect, do you believe in? I have to actually spell out in which respect is Mahatma Gandhi to be believed in? Are you actually joking, Dr. Ambedkar?
There are so many faces of Mahatma Gandhi. So that's why I just want
so
to
many
point
faces.
on
So is there a good face and a bad face of Mahatma Gandhi?
Ma'am, that will be the another issue. That will be the another...
नहीं तो बता दीजिए आपको अगर महात्मा गांधी में भी दो phases नजर आ रहे हैं तो then I really don't know which part of love and brethren and secularism that you represent. But let me get in Rashmi Samant. If we have people sitting on this panel who can't even say unconditionally that Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, is somebody they believe in, then what are we talking about? Then why is the blame on, the BJP or the Congress or anybody else? Mahatma Gandhi is not being endorsed by the AIMIM. Where have we come in this country? And we are talking about being brand ambassadors of secularism in this country. Rashmi Samant.
That's why
Thank you, Navika ji, for bringing me in. I feel that we need to look at these attacks from a holistic perspective. Anti-Hindu bigotry is on the rise around the world, and politicizing it is equivalent to trivializing it. Calling it, a BJP agenda or, Congress mudslinging is just trivializing anti-Hindu bigotry, because you can see it in Bangladesh, you can see it in Pakistan, you can also see it in Europe, where ISKCON devotees are attacked and heckled. If you look into the deeper psyche of stone pelting, then you can go back to Abrahamic texts which are absolutist and speak about stoning the devil. So I think we are grappling with a much bigger problem, and trivializing it like this by trivializing this anti-Hindu bigotry, which is
Dr. Ambedkar, calm down.
Just
allow her to make her point.
Issue. And it is a serious threat to Hindu community around the world, especially so since their interests are not protected in a nation where they are a majority. Then you can only imagine the plight in countries where they are a minority, which is almost every country in the world, because we are a global citizen today. So I think we are moving away from the main issue, which is anti-Hindu bigotry, when we try to mudsling on different political parties and try to accredit one another of this. The main problem is anti-Hindu bigotry, and you can find the basis of this in, monotheistic and, other kinds of Abrahamic religious texts. I think that is the issue that we need to collectively address to bring down the bigotry in our society and to make sure that there are no further attacks.
Well, so let me ask Dr. Ambedkar. Dr. Ambedkar, do you condemn the attacks on Ram Navami, on the Hindu processions that were taken out?
Ma'am Navika, you have forgotten two events. One in Katni railway station, some persons in front of police personnel chanting Jai Shri Ram, demolishing the public property. You have forgotten. There was no stone pelting, there was no arson, there was no lathi charge, there was nothing. So why the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh is not taking cognizance on this issue? Why are you not pinning point on this issue? Do you have any comment on this issue?
No, after being so astounded with your comment on Mahatma Gandhi, I've forgotten every other issue. I've forgotten every other issue, but Amit Malviya, coming to you. Amit Malviya, vigilante justice in Madhya Pradesh, the question on 2024 experimentation being done, respond to all the charges that have been made against the BJP. Amit Malviya.
In front of the police.
Navika, the problem is that this is something that has been around for almost a century and more now. If the problem is so deep-rooted, you need to have solutions which are different from what we've used in the past. Unfortunately, in the name of secularism, in the name of appeasement, in the name of treating the minorities, in particular the Muslims, with kid gloves, Indian governance and administration has taken a hit every time, which has only emboldened the radical elements within the larger minority
Navika,
community.
can I come in?
It is about time
that we
Navika? Set an example. And let's be honest, I mean, if there is stone pelting in today's day and time, it is all caught on camera. There are face recognition technologies. People know exactly what is happening, and policing has a job. If you are not going to use your police force to enforce law and order, then we might as well...
Navika, can I come in?
While vigilante justice is not something that we actually should be getting into endorse, but probably in today's world, people would look at Karoli in Rajasthan and the fact that the main accused is absconding on the 10th day after the clashes that took place, the arson that took place in Rajasthan. Maybe the bulldozer Madhya Pradesh model is something that people will begin to believe in, because cases after cases after cases, absconders after absconders after absconders, and with a pathetic interpretation of secularism that politics of India has turned that feeling, that word, that entire explanation in our preamble of the Constitution to. The fact is that in this country, will the question now be asked whether the majority has to be subservient to the minority, whether secularism will only mean appeasement of the minorities? It's a question that the people of India are asking. And given the fact that this is probably the only country where Hinduism really exists, and the fact that around us we're talking about Hinduism under attack, the fact is that many people are now looking at the dangers that are building up in our own society. Is it time that all of India comes to its senses and lives up to what Mahatma Gandhi had said, even though some on this panel have a conditional outlook on Mahatma Gandhi? And for Mahatma Gandhi, his last words were Hey Ram. And we all remember him by saying, Raghupati Raghav, Raja Ram, Patita Pavan Sita Ram. Ishwar Allah Tero Naam, Sabko Sanmati De Bhagwan. And that's the thought and the prayer we'll have to really tell ourselves, sing to ourselves every single day in this country. Thank you to my panelists for joining me on debate number 1.